Continuing our series on reading the Encyclopedia of Dinosaurs and Other Prehistoric Creatures. Last time, last time we went over the origin of um, reptiles, and in this video we are going to go over amphibians. Now, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get some of the pronunciations of these creatures wrong. I'll spell them out if I do, but bear with me if I do so. Amphibians have lived on Earth for the last 350 million years. Like reptiles, mammals, fish, and birds, they have backbones, but they can be separated from these other groups because they have moist, smooth skin without scales, hair, nor feathers. Amphibians were the world's first tetrapods, animals with 4 limbs. They evolved from fish that have fleshy bone fins known as lobes. So our first amphibian here is the I'm already Ichthyostega. Ichthyostega. I'm pretty sure I pronounced that right. It is 1.5 meters long, which is 5 feet. This creature is one of the world's first amphibians. Scientists describe it as a 4-legged fish because it has a fish-like head, body, and tail. Its 4 legs with webbed toes show that it could walk, which means it had adapted to life on land, though it may not have spent much time there. Instead, this I'm not even gonna try. This creature may have developed its legs to help it clamber over plants, which grew in the streams where it lived most of its life. Its short, stiff legs may only have led. Oh my god, I can barely see. Its short, stiff legs may only have limited movement. To move onto land, it may have hauled itself up on its forelegs while dragging its hindquarters. Eogyrinus. Eogyrinus. One of the largest amphibians ever to have lived, Eogyrinus was a powerful swimmer that moved quickly through the water by swishing its long tail from side to side. Though it may have been a predator, lying in wait in the shallows in much of the same way as a crocodile does today, although probably better suited to hunting in the water. Eogyrinus could probably make a grab for prey passing close by on the land. Eryops? Eryops. Carboniferous. 290 million years ago, North America. 5 feet, 1.5 meters long. Eryops was a large amphibian that lived in and near swamps. It was a meat eater with a stout body and 4 short, sturdy legs. Its tail was short and its head was wide and long. Packed into its strong jaws were many sharp fang-like teeth, indicating that it was probably a predatory animal. This creature may have hunted for fish, giant cockroaches, millipedes, dragonflies, and smaller amphibians and reptiles. Euryalps was one of the first true four-legged animals on Earth, able to walk on land. However, it was not a good walker. Its legs had to lift its heavy body clear of the ground, but because they were only short, they could not raise it very high. When Euryalps moved, it probably dragged its belly on the ground with its sprawling body posture. Euryalps could only take short, broad strides. Its walk was slow and difficult, and it probably could not run. Euryalps may have been a slow, ungainly mover on land, but when it returned to the water, it might have been a good swimmer. Samoria, Permian, 2 million years ago, North America, 60 centimeters long. Samoria was a small animal that spent most of its time on land, like a reptile, but which returned to the water to breed like an amphibian. It walked by undulating its backbone from side to side. Its short forelimbs show it was a slow mover. Samoria may have had a mixed meat and plant diet, which means it was an omnivore. It may also have been a carrion eater, meaning it ate meat from animals killed by others, or which had died of natural causes. A great variety of amphibians existed in the time before reptiles became the most dominant animals on Earth. Each species of amphibian evolved its own unique features, such as the gills of the adult Gyrothorax, Diplocalus or Collis, Permian 270 million years ago, North America, 1 meter long, with a body shaped like that of a modern salamander. The amphibian Diplocalus had an unusual triangular shaped head. The wings on either side of its head might have streamlined its shape, helping it to glide through the water. They might have been a safety feature, making it hard for predators to swallow. Also, because they made the head seem large, they might have frightened some predators away. Dinosaurs, Triassic, 230 million years ago, Europe and Africa. 4 meters long, 13 feet long. Dinosaurs was an enormous amphibian with a short body and tail and a massive flat skull. In a fully grown adult, the skull could be 5 feet or 1.5 meters long. Its jaws were packed with many small sharp teeth and a pair of tusks pointing up from its lower jaw and through openings in the upper jaw. It is thought that Dinosaurs fed exclusively on fish, which it caught in the lakes, ponds, and swamps where it lived. Paracyclosaurus, Triassic, 235 million years ago, Australia, India, South Africa. 2.3 meters long, or 7.5 inches. Paracyclosaurus was a giant amphibian with a flat body, similar in looks to today's salamander, but much, much larger. Although it could live on dry land, Paracyclosaurus probably spent most of its time in water. A fish eater, it might have played a waiting game, lying just below the surface of the water, when an unexpected fish came within reach of his jaws. This creature lifted its massive head, its mouth opened wide and the fish was sucked inside. Modern predators such as crocodiles use this technique to catch some prey. Little note, if I say this creature, that means that they put the name there. I'm just too lazy to pronounce it again or mispronounce it again. Most likely mispronounce it. I really wish they had like the pronunciations on here. Gyrothorax. Triassic. 210 million years ago. Europe. Scandinavia. 1 meter long. 3 feet 3 inches. Gyrothorax was unusual among ancient amphibians because it retained its feathery gills throughout its adult life. In other amphibians, the gills were lost as the animals matured from the larval stage to their adult stage. Gyrothorax, which looked like a big tadpole with a flattened body, was able to breathe underwater using its gills. It had a wide head on the top, which were its eyes, set close together. It may have rested on the bed of a lake or river, looking up through the water for passing fish. And when one came close enough, it ambushed it. Early amphibians, like today's toads and newts, began life in water. Larvae, called tadpoles, hatched from soft jelly-covered eggs. They had gills, front legs, and back legs. Front legs grew, then back legs. Adults lost their gills and breathed with lungs on land and in water. Acanthostega was an early tetrapod, an animal with 4 limbs which had fingers and toes. When the fossilized remains of this amphibian were first discovered, it was thought to prove that animals had evolved legs in order to free them from a life in water. Having legs meant they could move up onto the land, obviously. However, when the limbs of Acanthostega were looked at closely, it was realized that there was an animal that was much more at home in water than on land. Fish-like tetrapod. Acanthostega had a mixture of fish-like and tetrapod features. It had the tail, fin, nares, nostrils, and gills of a fish, and the legs and feet of a tetrapod. The limbs of a Acanthostega were a clue to how it lived. Since its limbs lacked wrist and ankle joints, it is thought they would have been too weak to support its body weight out of water. So perhaps this creature spent most of its life in water, moving about by its limbs and paddles. In shallow water, it might also have been able to use its limbs to push its way through dense growths of plants. It had scales on its belly, but not on the rest of its body, which, as in amphibians, was smooth. The scales suggested it needed to protect its soft underside, perhaps when it dragged itself on dry land. It says these creatures were found in Greenland, and they lived 370 million years ago. The length of them were 60 centimeters, which is 2 feet. They had a diet of fish and insects, and their habitats included lakes and ponds. The teeth of Acanthostega show that they were suited to catching fish and other small water-living animals. It may also have caught small prey on land. Okay, and that is, oh, okay, those were amphibians. In the next video, we are going to read about the ancestors of the dinosaurs and learn about the first reptiles on land. So I will, hopefully, you will will hear me again in the next video. I apologize for my pronunciations. Again, they don't have the correct pronunciations in the book. But yeah, thank you all for listening. I hope you learned something, or maybe my voice put you to sleep. But regardless, thank you for clicking on this video, and I'll see you when I see you.